The Indian Premier League is one of the biggest behemoths that is there in the world of cricket. For 3 months, 74 games are played, which occupies a significant chunk of the calendar. Because of the IPL, bilateral series, test cricket, club versus country, the relevance of bilateral series as well as the club versus country debate is reaching kind of different dimensions when you have to look at it as a cricket fan. IPL is, whether it is the be all or end all of it, that remains to be seen now. But according to the Sydney Morning Herald, there is one major update that is happening. You thought one IPL was not enough? Brace yourself, folks. There might be IPL Part 2. Yes, in the same year, if this proposal is to be believed, in the same year, you may have 2 IPLs. One IPL from March onwards, March to May, the other around September, October. That is the report that the Sydney Morning Herald, very credible report that I may add, it's come. Because what does the report say on what the BCCI wants to do? Because the BCCI, Jay Shah in particular, there is a discussion of an expanded IPL to be played around the September-October window. Now it gets even better. This, if you look at it, will not be in a T20 format. Correct. The IPL which will be played around September-October, which could be played, is either in the T10 or the 100 format. Yes. So IPL 20 overs will be played around the marquee period of March to May. IPL, this new one, proposed IPL, which is around September, October, that could take place in the T10 format or in the 100 format. Why this period of September, October? And how will it impact the entire dynamics of it? The suggestion and the report and the BCCI are quite very serious about it. They are saying new tournament may be ready to launch as soon as September and October of 2024. How long will the tournament be? How many games will happen in a day or in a week? We don't know. But why is this period been considered? Because September, October are traditionally the months in which the festive season begins. And the BCCI, the broadcasters, and the advertisers want to capitalize that in a big way by hosting an IPL which is rather like the T10 or in the 100 format. Shorter, much more festivities, much more advertising space, much more dynamics when you have to look at viewership in that case. Remember, the World Cup started around around October 5. This time, if any other tournament, ICC tournament has to begin by October or November, which has been happening in the past 3 years, perhaps in this time, the ICC will have to adjust it to a different calendar altogether. So, March to May, September to October, 5 months, which essentially means that cricket is going the football way, league structures. Only leagues will be played, 1 or 2 major ICC tournaments might happen. Now with this arrangement, what might happen to the bilateral teams? What will happen to bilateral series? What will happen to nations that just have a bilateral system in place? Because whichever nation agrees that, okay, let us all feature in this IPL, they will then go into a revenue sharing arrangement with India. Whatever players come into it, remember, even in the IPL, the boards get a from where the respective players come from, outside of India, they get a particular share of the revenue that is generated. Each player, say from Australia, if Cameron Green gets 17.5 crores, a portion of it goes to Cricket Australia. That's why you don't want to alienate the BCCI, because they would not want to consider you then in that case. More players, the cumulative number that is there, a portion of it goes to the Cricket Australia board in that sense. If I'm talking about Australia. For England, the same arrangement. Players could be a feeder system for the Indian-based tournament. They will just act as the feeders. They'll just play a couple of matches and then whoever is there, yes, get him into the IPL, both for the main March to May one and then from September, October one. Now, which is the only nation that can suffer from this? Our neighbors, Pakistan. The bilateral tensions that exist between India mean that Pakistan has not been a part of the IPL for 15 years now. It will continue into the 16th year. When this new tournament happens in September, October, Pakistan might be excluded from it. Now, for 5 months if this tournament is happening, what's going to happen to Pakistan? That is the major worry that Pakistan is right as of now not sweating that much, but they will be very worried about it because for 5 months, if all nations commit to the IPL except for Pakistan, where do they go then? How do they manage their bilateral systems? Because at this point in time, they are staying alive by the skin of their teeth only through bilateral tournaments. And there is one more economic powerhouse that is jumping into this. And if the combined might of their economics meet, then cricket will unfortunately will have to yield, or fortunately, because the Saudi factor. Saudi Arabia is going through a massive sports program when you have to look at it. The IPL is, there was earlier a proposal, remember, a couple of months earlier, that Saudi Arabia was harboring ambitions of its own T20 tournament or hosting one particular portion of the IPL. They have already gone into Formula One. They have already invited so many football stars like Ronaldo, like Neymar to come and play in their Saudi domestic league. On the other hand, they are also planning to host the 2034 FIFA World Cup. So, Saudi is going in a big way. F1, if you look at it, the Jeddah Corniche Grand Prix, now cricket also will come in. And why does Saudi want to have a stake in the IPL? Because they want to be the #1 tourist destination for Indians in 2030. That is a strategic goal that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have managed to do it. So, they are venturing into a big way in cricket, but their economics, if India's economics and Saudi's economics meet, then cricket will be a 5-month-long league called the Indian Premier League. And all the other, in the intervening 7 months that happen, whatever tournaments are held, it will be through a feeder system. Bilaterals will lose even greater significance. Test matches perhaps might not be harmed that much because there's also the WTC. ODI and T20I bilaterals will be finished if this arrangement comes about. But by the way, looking at the way how ODIs are going about, there are suggestions that the ODI format should only be there for a World Cup year. So maybe this particular arrangement is necessary in a way. But for T20Is and test matches, now test matches will then have to be constricted to an even lesser window. And for some nations like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, where they can only play test matches from November to January, that's a big blow for them. And remember, South Africa, already the club versus country debate is taking on a big thing because South Africa are potentially sending their B team to New Zealand for a WTC series. But all their star players are available for the SA20. South Africa is proving to be the ultimate example of club versus country going wrong. And because of that, with this arrangement, potentially 5 months of IPL, you might see the whole world order change at this point in time. So that is the latest proposal that the BCCI is planning. Nothing is concreted as to how many games will be there, how many weeks the tournament will extend to, what it is, September, October. 2 months, in addition to March, April, May, you got 5 months of the IPL. Welcome to the new direction which cricket is taking. And whether it is good or not, you may have to take it because it's the future. And the future may seem bleak to some old school cricket enthusiasts. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so that when we go live. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.